Everything that could go wrong has for Netflix and The Witcher. They have put such a small amount of effort into their adaptation that no matter which way they turn, their product is under constant scrutiny. And now to make things even worse going into the finale of season 3, the casting director admitted to using her job to affect change in viewers and manipulate their unconscious bias. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media so you can see when my content is posted, and of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and live streams I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So starting off with this Bounding Into Comics article, it says casting director Sophie Holland, who has worked on a number of big-name genre projects, including Netflix's Wednesday, The Witcher, Shadow and Bone, as well as Prime Video's The Peripheral, recently revealed how she uses her position to push her own political worldview. Now, each and every one of these projects was good in their own way, right? The Peripheral is a good show. Wednesday was awesome. The Witcher, even season 1 was pretty solid. Shadow and Bone had its moments, but unfortunately, when it comes to things like Shadow and Bone and The Witcher, they strayed so far from the source material, it drove fans of these IPs crazy. And Shadow and Bone features, Alina Starkov, the Sun Summoner, as a race swap. And while it did, add different storylines to the show and different angles, maybe different conflicts that each character felt with her because of that, they decided to go into Shadow and Bone and do that. You have The Witcher, which of course Yennefer is not her book description, that's for sure. I do think that the actress they chose was pretty good, and I do think that she has added to the show, don't get me wrong, but when you are creating a series, if you start off with making changes to the way characters look and not casting people who fit into those original descriptions, you can clearly tell people like this casting director, Sophie Holland, are doing it for one simple reason. It says during an interview as part of Janelle Riley's Acting Up newsletter that was subsequently published by Variety, Holland was first asked about which project confirmed she wanted to work in the field of casting. She said, "I think the first time I felt like a casting director was when I worked on something called The Kill Team, which was the story of American soldiers over in Afghanistan. It was the first time I understood that casting wasn't just about finding beautiful people who could do the American accent convincingly, but that casting could have a real profound impact on the people watching it." I don't know why she says something like this, that it wasn't just about finding beautiful people, because that's never been what entertainment has been about. Yes, there are some roles and some characters who definitely need to be played by very beautiful people. Like, look at Game of Thrones, Lena Headey playing Cersei. Cersei is a bitter, shallow woman, so of course they have to cast someone who is extremely beautiful because she's constantly comparing herself to other females, but not every character in entertainment has to be beautiful, and if someone who is casting only beautiful people, well, that's just on them. That's their issue. She acts like she was doing something groundbreaking by casting mediocre or average people, which isn't new or unique at all. People like this are constantly patting themselves on the back, and this is why I cannot stand most of the people in Hollywood. She later added, "You can affect change in whatever tiny way because you are in people's homes and they're watching this world." And that sort of solidified when I had a child. She's 5 now, and I thought how hard it is to be a girl. I remember thinking I have to help her because she's going to come under attack just like I did, just because she's a girl. Maybe she'll be lucky and to get to 9 before somebody calls her a bitch, and it made me so sad that she was going to experience that, and I couldn't protect her from that. She's acting like little boys don't also face problems, little boys who are, sensitive or maybe aren't, the most handsome, that they also face scrutiny. That's just kind of the world in general. It's not just a gender thing. Of course, she's trying to make it about gender, but she acts like, there are women out there who don't be called the word a bitch every once in a while. There are men who call men, little bitches. I don't know why she felt the need to add this in there, but she did. But what I could do is change the way that people see women through casting. Again, patting herself on the back, acting like there haven't been strong women cast before, women who might not look exactly the part for a role or what people expected, and that she is doing something new and stunning and brave. She even says, I can make them powerful and empowering. My number one issue, with this mentality, right, is that it is a pure excuse by these individuals to throw out source material. We even saw it with The Witcher. I mean, she was the one who cast Anya Charlotta as Yennefer. Well, this actress is a good actress, and I do think that she has a lot of great chemistry with Henry Cavill, so her role ultimately worked. Her casting ultimately worked. You completely threw out the fact that Yennefer was very well described in the books, because you're saying, well, I am going to empower women so they can see more individuals like them on screen. Either way, we were getting a woman, and their excuse is, well, I'm doing it for diversity and inclusivity. That is not a good excuse, in my opinion, to throw out source material. If you want to make something new and unique with tons of inclusivity and diversity, that's great. Good for you. Just go and create something new, or only work on new projects. She went on to say how she specifically, chose to race replace Yennefer in The Witcher. I am always the first to champion diversity in all of its glory. One thing that springs to mind was the character of Yen. Lauren is the showrunner, and we work so well together, and she's so open to conversations. Yeah, well, you are talking about the individual who was happy Henry Cavill left, because reportedly behind the scenes, they all hated Henry Cavill since he was like a Witcher Bible on set and was constantly telling them, you're not doing your job good enough. That's why we love Henry Cavill. That's why these individuals hate Henry Cavill. It is because he is one of the only people on the set of this show throughout all the seasons that actually championed for source material to be followed. It says in the book she's described as the most beautiful woman in the world. This was a few years ago, and I'd like to think things have changed. No, things don't change, because that is her character. She is supposed to be the most beautiful woman in the world. That is her description. That is the way that she was written, and it's not just like, oh yeah, she's beautiful. No, that is part of her character. This was a few years ago, as it says, but when you think about people's unconscious bias, especially in the fantasy world, it felt like these worlds were predominantly white. Yeah, this one was. Do you know why? Because it was a Polish tale. The author, Andre, just wrote what he felt comfortable with writing. Is that a bad thing? Not at all. But we have seen them time and time again do this, not just with The Witcher, with also, like I mentioned, Shadow and Bone is another one that this individual worked on. But this isn't a good excuse to race swap characters. Oh, it's a white universe. Then don't take the job. If you know this and you don't want to support that, then just find another job. As it says, she was described with a pale triangular face, violet eyes, and narrow, slightly contorted lips appearing beneath the black tresses, but clearly they do not care about what real Witcher fans have to say, because not only did they make all these decisions straight from the source material, but Season 3 has been utterly destroyed, even though months ago they said, we promise to get back to source material, we're getting back on track. Clearly, they didn't do that. I mean, the writing in this season was truly awful. I mean, in the first episode, you have Geralt catching the fire mage, the big baddie, and then letting him go, and then they have to chase him the whole rest of the season. Now, it is important to point out that the last few episodes of Season 3 do release in a couple of days as of recording and posting this video, but the mentality here is just so bad. The writing here is so spectacularly awful. They don't deserve a Season 4 or a Season 5, and most people agree with that, judging by the 24% audience score. It is sad to see so many people in Hollywood finale would just completely disregard source material and disregard what fans of franchises have to say because they think it's stunning and brave to do so. But this is only going to dig the Witcher hole deeper for Netflix because, of course, now the casting director has admitted to using her job to affect, change, and manipulate viewers. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.